Hello. Today, pretty much always, you can have 2 blocks and then a weight of your choice. I have a 15-pound kettlebell. You can use a dumbbell or a lighter kettlebell or anything that works. Start in child's pose. So you can be on hands and knees. For this version, bring your knees apart and the big toes together. And then rest your hips back on your heels and lower your hairline, the top of the forehead, to the floor. If it is unsuitable for you to bring your hips back to your heels, then you can take one or both of the blocks between the lower leg bones and stack them in such a way that you can allow your pelvis to rest on them. And even if you can't have mostly back, it can still feel good to use one block, just for support. And allow your body to settle into this position. And start by noticing your breath. I like to do that by creating long exhales. Just lengthening the exhale for a moment or two longer than you normally breathe. Breathing out until you feel the low belly start to firm up. And let the inhale naturally follow. Imagine breathing into the sides of the rib cage as opposed to the front or the back specifically. Take another few breaths here, just allowing the body to relax into the support of the floor or the block. Feeling with your skin the texture and sensation of body touching ground. Perhaps have an intention for your day or your practice. If you ever start to feel like you're moving up into the head, the mind, instead of residing in the body, it can be nice to take an exhale out the mouth with a sigh. You can do that on and off the yoga mat as well. When you are ready to come out of the posture, push your hands down to the floor. That will lift the arms and forehead, and then push the knees as well to lift up. Remove any of the props that you might have had under the pelvis or between the legs. Let's do that one I just did. So to keep your shoulders in a nice place, I like to bend the elbows and make sure they point straight back behind you, not out to the side. So the shoulder blades move down, the back towards the pelvis. Gaze is straight down between the thumbs, not forward, so the back of the neck stays long. And then reach through the tailbone, and that will kind of collect up the lower belly so there's not this dumping into the low back. Nice integrated spine. Keep the fingers spread, pushing into the fingertips, making more of a J with your thumbs than an L. Push down more just with the right hand to support, and just lift the left thumb and base of the wrist. So the fingers stay down, and thumb and wrist lift. You can just kind of rotate between pinky and pointer finger and place it down, then other side. So you lift the base of the wrist and the thumb is getting into the fingers, and place them back down. Little cat-cow, curl the toes under, and inhale. Reach the sternum forward, curl the tailbone up, maybe look forward. On an exhale, curl the sitting bones down around the spine. Bring your forehead in towards your belly button. Again, inhale. Reach the tailbone, reach the sternum, arc the back. Exhale, round the spine. A few more times. Inhale. Reach, broaden the chest, spread the collarbones. Exhale, round the spine. Really push the shoulder up into the space between the shoulder blades so they round away from each other. Hug them back onto the back. Inhale, open the chest, reach the tailbone. Exhale, round the spine. Nice. Come back to neutral. Really push into the fingertips so the weight doesn't bear mostly into the wrists. And pretend that your torso is in the cylinder. Scrape the sides of the cylinder. So lower the spine and chest. Then arc over to the left. Scrape the imaginary cylinder over to the right and down. And keep going in the same direction. Nice rotations. It's okay if the hips and the shoulders and the head do what organically happens. Being really into the sides of the rib cage. And next time your belly comes to the floor, reverse the direction. Arcing over to the right, up towards the sky, over to the left. You can inhale when you're more in the belly down. Exhale. Really whatever feels natural and good. One more time. Keep pushing the hands in, the knees in. And come back to center. Just going to work with shoulder mobility, so really push into the hands. Keep the elbows soft. You're going to just lower the chest between the shoulders. Then push up, keep pushing the floor away so the shoulder blades round away from the spine. Lower. Gaze stays down, back of the neck long. Push. Lower. Push. Beautiful. Come back to neutral. Notice how neutral is not dumped in and it's not hyper pushed up. Right in the middle, so there's a little tension in a good way, tautness, integration in the arms, hands, and shoulders. We'll do one shoulder at a time. So reach the right shoulder up by the ears, you pull the left down, and then switch, almost like they're rounding out to the side, and then up and down. Keep reaching with the tailbone so the belly is firm. One more time. direction. Back to center. Come out of the wrists for a moment, keep the hips stacked over the knees, and walk the hands forward until the forearms, elbows, and forehead come to the floor. If this is a lot of a reach for you, you can stay a little bit lifted and bring a block for your forehead. Reconnect with your breath. Beautiful. When you're ready to come up, push the hands down to lift forehead up, either off the floor or off the block. And then we'll bring both blocks to the tallest height, built-in height, in the front of the mat. Starting with the left foot forward. If it is challenging for you to just bring your left foot forward, you can definitely use your hands and help step it forward. And curl the back toes under and scoot the back knee back just a little bit. You can also bring a blanket or roll your mat for a little cushion under the back knee. Then if it works for you, turn the back toes down. The top of the foot is flat on the floor. Push into the heel of the front foot. You can even try and lift and spread the toes of the front foot to make sure you're not gripping with the toes. And think about the sitting bone on this left leg, the leg that's forward, kind of reaching down and back. You start with a little movement forward so you can bring the hips forward, use the hands on the blocks to support your weight, and then come out. Just a little gliding before we are static. The more you push with the front foot, supports strength of the hamstring in the front leg. Forward, chest is broad, and back. Okay, so next time you come forward, you can stay and push down with the front foot. Think about pushing down so much that the glute turns on. So you might not come as low, but it'll be a lot stronger of a position. Then you can walk the blocks back so they're underneath the shoulders. Think about both legs squeezing in towards the midline, tailbone rooting towards the floor, and the front of the belly kind of zips up so the sternum is lengthening towards the sky. And keep your hands on the blocks, or bring hands into prayer, maybe onto the front thigh. Fewer points of contact with the floor, the more you'll work on balance. Maybe arms overhead, interlace the fingers, or clasp the thumbs, but keep the hands connected. And then reach through the fingertips. And it's like the back toes reach through the body spine, through the hands, so the toes and the hands are connected. Find your breath. Inhale. Exhale. Keep pushing into the front foot. Reach the tailbone towards the floor. Inhale. Exhale. When you're ready, if the arms are lifted or on the front thigh, bring them down to the block. Maybe walk the blocks forward to support your upper body, and step the left knee back to meet the right. Just kind of give a sway from side to side. Keep working with the left leg a little bit, reach it out to the side so it is perpendicular to the spine, Then flex the left toes so the ankle is nice and sturdy. And push the inner edge, big toe side of the foot into the floor. I'm lowering my blocks so I don't even quite that high. And the same thing, we're just going to roll forward. When you come forward, give a little bend in the elbows to make sure they point straight back so your shoulders are in a nice place. And then swing back, getting into that inner left groin hamstring a little bit. Gaze stays down, so it's pretty even movement forward and back. The back toes curl under, you get a little bit opening in the foot as well. Nice, next time that you come up, bend the left knee, bring it back. Little movement side to side. Move the blocks back up to the tall side if you've moved them lower. And then step the right foot forward. Let your hips stay curly back towards under. So you lift the back knee and scoot it back just a little bit. So you're not right in the very top of the kneecap. That may not be comfortable. If balance is difficult for you, you can bring the feet slightly wider apart, so more points touching the ground, or the farther apart the base, the more stability there will be. Otherwise, they can be right like ski tracks with each other. Push into the heel of the front foot, maybe even try to lift the toes, just so you know that you're pushing into the heel. And then we'll start with just a little glide forward and back. Keeping the spine in integrity so there's no dumping in the spine anywhere or disintegration along the spine. It moves in this position as one unit. Everything that's touching the floor or blocks push into the floor. Next time you come forward and stay, really push in to the front heel. Think about this back right half of the pelvis kind of rotating down so it doesn't stick out to the side. I'll turn on the glutes, then both legs move in towards the midline together. Tailbone drops towards the floor, lengthening down. That kind of pulls the front low belly in. And then stack the ribcage so there's not a poking out, but lots of space for the kidneys in the back. Create contact with the floor. Keep your hands on the blocks. They are, you can move them back so you can be nice and tall. Maybe hands to the front thigh. If the back foot being flat just doesn't quite work, for some, there's more stability with the toes brought under. Maybe you're ready to reach the arms overhead, interlace the fingers, or clasp thumbs. Reach up here for the shoulders to come up by the ears. Both sides of the rib cage get long as they reach out to the fingertips. Find your breath. Inhale. Exhale. Keep the face soft. Inhale. Exhale. One more time. Inhale. Exhale. When you're ready, very slowly bring the hands down, maybe first to the thigh, then to the blocks, and bring the blocks forward to help support you. Bring the right knee back. A little wiggle side to side. And reach the right leg out to the side. 90-degree angles perpendicular to the spine. Flex the toes. Big toe side of the foot pushes into the floor, so the bottom of the foot is not flat on the floor. Maybe you don't need the box quite so tall. We'll start just a little movement forward and back. Top of the back foot coming down over, toes curled under. Think about when you come back that the inner thigh is kind of curling up and back. So it's getting into that hip socket, inner groin area. Round forward and back. Nice. Get ready. Bring both knees back to the floor. You can rest in child's pose. Releasing the head and neck. Find a moment to breathe. When you're ready to come out, push the hands down to the left, the arms in head. Come into a table pose. Curl the toes under. Walk your hands back towards your knees. Lift your knees up so you're in a very low squat. Again, if the floor is far away, you can bring these blocks under your hands. And even just being here, rock forward and back, cross toes, open. If that doesn't quite work for you, even just rest into whatever degree you can. Maybe even releasing the head and neck. With the whole back body round, gently but supported. To come out, push. So I lifted a little bit so my feet come to the floor. Push back, push into your heels, and rise up. Nice. Let's take a moment. Stand tall. Notice your posture. One long, graceful line from head to feet. And we can step forward to the front of the mat. You can grab your weight. So whether it is a dumbbell or a kettlebell, you can also do this without weights. It just adds a little bit more resistance and strength. So we'll start standing at the front of the mat, and then stand on the left leg to step your right leg back for a high lunge. It's a lot of the same cues that we had before. You push into the front heel, maybe lift the toes to help you know you're pushing into the heel. And then as you bring your hips down so the front thigh is parallel to the floor, this hip kind of roots to the floor so it doesn't stick out to the side. And keeping it in one long line. Then reach back through the back heel, high on the ball of the back foot. And this half of the pelvis kind of steers forward, so both halves of the pelvis are moving in opposition, but mostly parallel. If balance is an issue, bring your feet wider apart or stand next to a wall on either side, so you can touch the wall and keep that there for support. Bring the hands together at the heart. You can also find a little bend in the back knee if that helps you kind of sort out this front hip. It's a tendency for people to come forward. So bending the back knee can help to kind of even off the hips. You're going to reach down for either your dumbbell, your kettlebell, or nothing. Pick it up, stand tall. And just bend the back knee till it just touches the floor and lift up. And lift. All the while pushing into the front heel. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Awesome. Bring it down, step your back foot forward. Lift the kettlebell, you can hold it with both hands. If you have a dumbbell, holding each end with both hands. We're going to start standing tall, all of the way on the left foot. Right foot is light. Hinge forward, like one of those little birds that just hinges forward. Maybe, keep your balance. Maybe you come until the weight touches the floor, maybe not. Keeping the front leg straight. Stand really firm in that standing leg. Breathe. Lift the back leg up. 4. 5. 6. 7. 8. 9. You need to put the other foot down when you come up for a balance reprieve, that's fine. 10. Nice. Weight on both feet. To bring the weight down, we don't drop it, we don't lower. With the spine, bend at the knees, release it down. Take a moment, shake it out. Coming to the other side. So standing firm on both feet. Tall spine, integrated belly. And shift your weight into the right foot. So it might be almost imperceptible. That right thigh stays nice and tall, lift it. And bend the left knee and reach back into your lunge. Finding the right length and width for you. Or wider will be more balanced, and some, a little bit legs closer might be better. Push into the front heel, maybe even try to lift your toes so you know you're pushing into the front heel. Hold this front pelvic half kind of in and down and back. And then this other pelvic half, again, you can bend the knee to have it come forward so they're moving in opposition. We want to avoid too much hinging forward of the upper body. A little bit is okay, but again, bend the back knee to help you stand upright. Really, most important thing, push into the front heel. Kind of think about all the muscles in your front leg squeezing the bone. And find your weight. Find stability. Or you can do it without a weight. I'm just going to bend the back knee until it touches and lift up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Keep both hips parallel-ish. 8, 9, 10. Put the weight on if you need to, or step the back foot forward. Weighting both hands. Transferring all the way again into that right standing leg. Left foot is not bearing weight. Reach forward. Strong with the standing leg hip. And then come back up to standing. 1, 2, 3. It's not about how high the back leg goes. Good. 4. Balance is a process. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Beautiful. Weight on both feet. To put the weight down, bend at the knees and hips. Lower down. Keep straight. We'll come down to the back. So one way of doing that is just to come into a squat until you lower all the way down. Others might find table pose first. It's better. Have your weight handy. All the way down onto your back. Knees bent, feet on the floor, feet about hip distance apart. I'm going to take one block between the thighs. And setting up here first. So before we actually get into the exercise, just take note of the body. Do you tend to be super duper arched in the low back? Or is your low back totally flat already into the floor? In an ideal world, what that means, the low back has a small natural curve. So for people who tend to be super arched, actually thinking about flattening that curve a little can help. For people who are already super flat, thinking about a spreading or kind of blossoming open of the front lower belly can bring nice balance there. If none of that makes sense, just think about evenness through the spine. You're going to walk the heels back so they're mostly underneath the knees, so not too far forward. Squeeze the block and release. And squeeze and release. And just do that pulsing a few times. It can help you find the right distance of your feet, so if it just doesn't feel right, your feet might be too wide apart or too far from your hips. Just feel the isolation that's possible of the inner thighs, a place that many of us are not strong enough. Squeeze, release. Even when you release, notice how they're still not like totally splaying the legs apart. It's just a little bit of a release. So there's still this maintenance of an intention inward towards the walk. And just as a practice, close your eyes if you like. Find the multitasking of squeezing and releasing the block while keeping your breath even. It can definitely be easy to forget about the breath when we're doing something that requires new muscle memory. Just keeping the breath smooth and even while squeezing the block. And when you feel you really turned on those inner thighs, release, you can let go of the block for a minute. Maybe open and plant the knees gently. It's wonderful. And we'll bring the feet back, block back between your thighs. Take your weight, whether it's dumbbell, kettlebell, or nothing, it's fine. And bring it pretty much right above the pubic bone, right to the very, very, very low belly. Just adding a little bit of weight for resistance purposes. And make sure your feet are back closer to your butt, parallel. Give a little squeeze of the block just to maintain that intention inward. You can start by lifting and pulling each shoulder blade down the back away from the ears so they're nice and flat on the back. Keep hold of your weight, so you're holding either side of the dumbbell or the kettlebell with your hands. Push into your heels, lift the pelvis up and lower. Do a couple just to find the right spacing of your feet. Squeezing the block, push into the heels and lower. Lift and lower, gaze straight up. No weight on the neck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Lift and hold, 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 hold. Think about reaching the sitting bones toward the back of the knees. Lift, push up, push, 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 push. Squeeze the block. Exhale. And slowly lower down. Remove the block, or the weight, excuse me. Remove the blocks. Then you can slowly sway the knees from side to side. Draw the thighs into your chest. Just give a little sway again. Massage the low back, the kidneys. And 1 foot at a time. So both feet to the floor, and then I like to extend them at a time. Give a little wiggle again, pulling the shoulder blades down and onto the back so they're flat, not poking up. Just come into a nice rest. Breathe. Feel the body's connection to the floor.